They've been trying to reach them for decades now, sending signals into the void, broadcasting our existence to the cosmos. And for what? A handshake with the unknown, a cosmic pat on the back, the validation that we're not alone? What fools we've been. The night sky above us isn't empty, it never was. It's watching, waiting. Those pinpricks of light aren't just distant suns, they're eyes, countless eyes observing our every move. Consider this. We've been broadcasting our presence for over 80 years. Radio waves, television signals, intentional messages beamed directly into space. All of it traveling outward at the speed of light, creating an expanding bubble of human noise in the silence of space. And what if something is listening? What you're about to hear isn't speculation. It isn't fiction. These are the facts they don't want you to know. The truth buried beneath layers of deception and misdirection. I've spent years piecing this together, following paper trails that were meant to be incinerated, speaking with whistleblowers who risked everything to come forward. The evidence is overwhelming, and the conclusion is inescapable. We are being hunted. Think about it. In all the vastness of the universe, with its billions of galaxies and trillions of stars, why would any advanced civilization care about us? What could we possibly offer them? Resources? There are asteroids with more precious metals than our entire planet. Knowledge? What could a species that's mastered interstellar travel learn from us? No, there's only one thing we have that might interest them. The one thing that's truly rare in the cold emptiness of space. Life. Not just any life, conscious life. Thinking, feeling beings with the capacity for suffering, for fear, for despair. And that's what they want. You see, the universe isn't the benevolent cradle of creation we've been led to believe. It's a dark forest. A place where every living thing hides, terrified of being discovered. Because to be discovered is to be devoured. The great silence of the cosmos, what scientists call the Fermi paradox, isn't a mystery, it's a warning. The reason we don't hear anyone else out there isn't because we're alone. It's because everyone else knows better than to make noise. Everyone except us. We've been shouting our location into the darkness like children lost in the woods, not realizing that the woods are full of wolves. Let me take you back to 1977, the year we sent the first deliberate message into deep space, a radio transmission directed at a star cluster 25,000 light-years away. What were the contents of this message? Information about our biology, our DNA, our genetic code, the very blueprint of human life, broadcast for anyone or anything to intercept. Ask yourself, why would we do that? What possible benefit could come from revealing the most intimate details of our biology to unknown entities who might be listening? The official explanation is scientific curiosity, the pursuit of knowledge, the hope of establishing contact with other intelligent beings. The truth is far more sinister. Those who sent that message knew exactly what they were doing. They knew who or what might be listening, and they didn't care. Because they weren't working for humanity, they were working for them. The infiltration began long before we started broadcasting. They've been here, walking among us for centuries, not in large numbers, just enough to guide our development, to ensure we'd evolve in the right direction, to prepare us. For what, you ask? The harvest. But I'm getting ahead of myself, let's follow the evidence. Throughout human history, there have been accounts of strange beings visiting Earth, gods descending from the heavens, angels and demons, fairies and spirits. We've given them different names in different cultures, but the descriptions remain remarkably consistent. Humanoid, but not quite human, possessing impossible abilities, appearing and disappearing at will. These weren't myths or hallucinations. They were observations, encounters with the scouts. Fast forward to the modern era, the late 1940s. Suddenly, the world experiences a wave of UFO sightings, unidentified craft performing maneuvers that defy our understanding of physics. The public demands answers. Governments scramble to explain. And then, just as suddenly, the ridicule begins. Anyone who claims to have seen something strange in the sky is labeled a crackpot, a conspiracy theorist. The entire subject becomes taboo in scientific circles, the perfect way to ensure that genuine evidence is dismissed without examination. Meanwhile, in secret facilities around the world, the recovered technology is studied, reverse-engineered. Not to protect us, but to prepare the way. The next phase began in the 1960s, the space race. Two global superpowers competing to reach the stars first. But was it really a competition, or was it a coordinated effort guided by unseen hands to develop the technology that would eventually allow for mass transport? Consider the timing. Just as we developed the capability to leave our planet, we also began actively searching for signals from space. radio telescopes scanning the heavens, projects dedicated to the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, all of it funded by the same organizations that were simultaneously denying the existence of UFOs. Why look for something you claim doesn't exist? Unless of course you know exactly what you're looking for, unless you're following instructions. The smoking gun came in 1974, the most powerful broadcast ever deliberately beamed into space. A message containing information about our solar system, our planet, and human beings, our height, our population, the composition of our DNA, a cosmic advertisement, a menu. Since then, the pace has only accelerated, more messages sent into space, more probes launched with maps leading directly back to Earth, more technology developed that bridges the gap between us and them, and always the same information included: who we are, where we are, and how we're made. Still think it's a coincidence? The evidence doesn't end there. Look at our popular culture over the past few decades. Movies, television shows, books, games, all of them increasingly focused on extraterrestrial contact, preparing us psychologically for the idea that we're not alone, conditioning us to accept the presence of beings from other worlds. But notice the pattern in these stories. How often are we portrayed as the inferior species? How frequently are we shown as helpless against their advanced technology? How consistently are we depicted as resources to be used, rather than equals to be respected? It's not entertainment, it's acclamation. They're preparing us to accept our fate, to go willingly when the time comes. And the time is coming soon. The signals have been received, the response is on its way. They know where we are, they know what we are, and they're coming to collect. You might be wondering why I'm telling you this. What purpose does it serve to reveal the truth when it's already too late to change our course? Because knowledge is power. Because even in the darkest night, a single flame can provide hope. Because there are ways to protect yourself if you know what's coming. They don't want everyone, they can't take everyone. Their resources, while vast, are not infinite. They need to prioritize, to select, to choose who goes and who stays. And that's where the opportunity lies. The selection process has already begun. It's happening right now all around you. The data is being collected. Your online activity, your medical records, your genetic information, harvested through those popular DNA testing services that appeared seemingly overnight. All of it feeding into algorithms designed to assess your value. Not your value as a human being, your value as a resource. They're looking for specific traits, genetic markers, neurological patterns, psychological profiles. The criteria are complex and not fully understood, but we've identified some of the factors that increase your likelihood of being selected. Curiosity about the unknown, interest in extraterrestrial life, willingness to accept unconventional ideas, openness to new experiences. Sound familiar? These are the very traits that might have led you to listen to this message. The traits that make you a prime candidate. But there are ways to confuse the algorithms, to make yourself less appealing, less valuable, to become invisible to their selection process. First, limit your digital footprint. The less data you generate, the harder you are to assess. Use privacy tools, encryption, VPNs. Avoid social media platforms that exist primarily to harvest your personal information. Second, be cautious with your biological data. Those mail-in DNA tests aren't curiosities, they're inventories. The companies behind them aren't interested in telling you about your ancestors. They're cataloging your genetic makeup for other purposes. Third, question the narrative. When they finally reveal themselves, and they will, it won't be presented as an invasion. It will be framed as an opportunity. A chance for humanity to join a galactic community, to ascend to a higher level of existence, to leave behind the limitations of our physical forms. Don't believe it, don't volunteer, don't go willingly into the night. Because the reality of what awaits those who are taken is far more horrific than anything you can imagine. We have accounts, testimonies from the few who were selected and managed to escape. What they described isn't enlightenment or ascension, it's industrialized suffering on a scale that defies comprehension. They don't want us for our bodies. They want us for our consciousness, our awareness, our capacity to experience. In their realm, subjective experience is a resource, a commodity to be harvested and consumed. They feed on fear, on pain, on despair. The more intense the emotion, the more valuable it is to them. And they've developed technologies that can sustain a human consciousness indefinitely, keeping it trapped in simulated scenarios designed to generate maximum suffering. Imagine the worst moment of your life. The most intense pain, the most profound fear, the deepest despair. Now imagine experiencing that moment not for seconds or minutes or hours, but for what feels like eternity. Time stretched and manipulated so that a single moment of agony can last for what seems like centuries. That's what awaits those who are taken. But there is hope. There are those fighting back. A resistance movement that spans the globe, composed of individuals who have pieced together the truth and are working to sabotage the selection process, to corrupt the data, to make as many people as possible invisible to their algorithms. I'm one of them. And by listening to this message, you now have the opportunity to join us. The choice is yours. You can dismiss what I've told you as the ravings of a paranoid mind. You can continue on as before, generating data that marks you as a prime candidate for selection, or you can take action, protect yourself, join the resistance, because despite what they want us to believe, we're not helpless. We're not merely resources to be harvested. We're human beings with the capacity for courage, for solidarity, for resistance in the face of overwhelming odds. They think they've won already. They think we'll go quietly when they come. They think we'll be grateful for the opportunity to leave our troubled world behind. Let's prove them wrong. The night sky is watching. It has been watching for a very long time. But now, for the first time, we're watching back. We see them moving in the darkness. We understand their intentions. And we're preparing. Not to welcome them, not to join them, but to fight. The message has been sent. The response is coming. The harvest approaches. But this time, we'll be ready. Remember, limit your digital footprint. Protect your biological data. Question the narrative. Spread the word, but carefully. Use encrypted channels. Speak in code. Trust no one completely. And whatever you do when they finally show themselves, when they extend their hands in apparent friendship, when they invite you to join them among the stars, run. Run as fast and as far as you can. Hide in the shadows, in the underground, in the forgotten places of the earth. Because it's better to live in darkness than to become a feast of light. They're listening, they're watching, they're waiting, and so are we. The truth is out there. Now you know it. What you do with it is up to you. But remember, the night sky isn't empty. It's hungry.